Hello, and welcome to a new series on Levels Plus Plays, which will probably be a one-shot unless I just get tired of talking. Today, February 21st, 2026, is the 40th anniversary of Zelda no Densetsu, or The Legend of Zelda, as we know it. Was released on the Famicom Disk System on this very day, 40 years ago. And since Nintendo doesn't seem to want to do anything, that I'm aware of anyway, I want to celebrate it a little bit, even if by the time this recording is all put together, it'll be a little after that anniversary. I wanted to do something for the 40th anniversary, and what better way than to play the Famicom Disk System original so you can hear the differences in music and sound effects. And I think most of the text is in English. I have played this before. It's very novel to play a game that I know very well in its original version. There are a little bit of load times, but I think we will get by. I have my Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition guide here to help remind me of where I need to go to find some things. And we're going to do things out of order. We're not doing level 1 first. We're going to do level 3 first. And grab the raft. Run out of there and go get all the heart containers to get the white sword before I actually do any dungeon diving. That is the current plan. So with the Famicom Disk System version, we'll have a little bit of load time. We won't be doing any kill mode today. But we will create a new file, since I don't want to necessarily erase my old file. And we'll call this Link 40. All right. And here we are. So step 1 is to get the wooden sword. And it looks like I lied slightly that the in-game text from NPCs will still be in Japanese, but that's okay. So my goal is to get the 3 hearts that you can get on the overworld, first and foremost. And I'm just kind of reminding myself where all that stuff is. Because I have to get to level 3 to get the raft, to get to level 4 to get the step ladder, if my memory is correct. Yes. But I gotta buy a candle, gotta get some bombs. Gotta find the power bracelet. All kinds of stuff. So, let's go ahead and get going. I'm gonna start building up some money. It's really fascinating how much this game influenced me as a child. I absolutely adore this game. It was one of the first games I had on my NES. And it's still one of my favorite Zeldas. Guess what I can do, though? Dang it. Tactics being rude. There we go. Yes, I'm playing this on Nintendo Switch Online if that wasn't patently obvious. And I will be taking advantage of that as needed. Namely to be really cheap with the rupees. It's gonna be great. I think it's proven to be very wiggly today. I think what I'm looking for is on the left. I don't know if I can get that quite yet. Alright, I need to be reminded how many rupees I need to start this whole chain off. I don't remember. It would be great if I could walk into the door, though. Okay, so this is the money-making game, and we're gonna cheat. So, what we're gonna do is learn which one it is. Okay, so clearly it wasn't that one. We're gonna get to a blue ring in no time. Okay, I really just need to stop picking the middle, obviously. Yeah, the middle is just not my friend. I feel like Shulk. I see the future. Oh, finally. Finally, it's the middle. Okay, that's all I need for now. We'll coming back here later. Here's our first bonus heart. Oh, wait. Is it different in the Japanese version? No, I am incorrect. This is always this. I'm thinking of somewhere else. It's been a little while since I played this, so clearly my memory is not super sharp at the moment, but that's okay. We might as well get the letter while we're here. Okay, so we're gonna zip across the map to get over to where the blue ring is, so at least I can get a defense buff early on. If the levers would quit poking me in the face. I am maxed out on rupees. Zora shot. turned around. Got bumped into. Alright, this is just too chaotic. Invincibility frame. Yeah, I just realized that the Zoras look a lot simpler in this version of the game. Yeah, well, that'll stop the beeping for a little bit. Sorry. Taking advantage of that ramp here in a moment. Alright, we're gonna have a bunch of blue levers to deal with. And they hit pretty hard. They'll hit a little less hard now, but they still will hit pretty hard. There's a fairy fountain conveniently right over here if I could not get hit by a moblin arrow. And while we're here, we can go grab the raft. Oops. Not down far enough. Now we're down far enough. Okay, so for the raft, I need to go to the left as soon as possible. Regrettably have to deal with dark nuts one way or another. Rough time. I do have to say that the Switch 2 pad might not be the best way to be trying to control this game. One that I can find the magic one. Okay, we can at least attempt to avoid that last one. He's dogged. He wants to get me. There we go. don't have to fight these dark knights. So let's try not to. Okay, let's try to get out of here with our bounty. So we can get a little more health. And then continue on the quest. Yeah, this Switch 2 D-pad is not as fluid as I'd like it to be. I'm not gonna lie. So, may scrap this and go put the NES Mini in instead. Yeah, this is a bit of a ridiculous amount of setup. But it'll all pay off very shortly. The damage buff is already really nice. I need a magical shield real bad. The thing that I really remember being impressed by with this game is just the scale. Because even though this is not the biggest, forgot where I was, game by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, all of that could have been avoided. Every single one of those boops. Right now, this is what you call impatience. Anyway. It'd be great if I could continue a thought long enough while I'm trying to fend off Octoroks. All right, hard container number 1 that you can get in the wild, so to speak. Oops. It wouldn't be a Legend of Zelda 1 playthrough without accidentally hitting up on the raft when you didn't need to. Back to the money-making game, and we'll enrich ourselves with some more rupees to get some more gear. Trying to remember where things are. I think the power bracelet might be out of my grip until I get the stepladder. No, I don't have enough money. Well, I guess that's where this comes in handy. I will now. Anyway, I believe I was attempting to say that the thing that impressed me the most about this game was just the scale, which, you know, as time has moved on, it seems pretty small and quaint now when you compare it to, like, Breath of the Wild, which is just huge. But at the time, this was like one of the biggest games, and it felt so huge and vast at the time. And I love that about this game, is that it doesn't seem as like that's diminished to me. I still feel like this game is just monumentally huge. Magical shield, which will help us so much. And the candle at this stage. Which means we can start going after bushes. And actually we will have a item that we could use in the B slot, which is nice. While we're at it. Oh, maybe I didn't do it the right way. Or maybe it's being picky. I don't remember there's one here or not. Yeah, the downside to the blue candle is that you can only use it once per screen transition. So if you get your timing just a little bit off, you're gonna have to come back. I want to say one of these was a viable burning option, but I can't remember. There we go. Oh, that was a you broke my door. And you're right, I did, but I'm not going to go in there and pay you for it. Pretty sure one of these is the burnable one, but I can't remember which one. Could be the screen up above. Anyway, we're going to get the 5th heart, and then we're going to go chase the step ladder down. And luckily, both of those are very conveniently nearby. This one is kind of towards this end, I want to say. I don't quite remember where. Alright, I believe we have one more of those to track down, but we can't get to it without the stepladder. So we're going to go do that with our raft. And the stepladder is not too deep in here, but deep enough to probably be a problem. We have Vile to deal with. That I had the candle. Alright, we will have to take care of Vile here. There's like lakes in here, yeah. Probably the scariest room we'll be dealing with for the time being. Because like takes a long time to die to the wooden sword. Bubbles like to hit you at the worst time. Alright. So we can get the stepladder and run out of here. Because basically, the world is our oyster now. There's very few places I can't go. With the raft and the stepladder in my hands. Just have to not get hit too many times. I'll take the invincibility frames of the bubble. Alright, we can now get another heart container that's just in the overworld. But of course, it's on the exact opposite side of the map. Probably could have waited until I got the stepladder to actually do this one. Because both the heart containers for the raft and for the stepladder are very close to each other on this edge, but it is okay. Right? That is not an exit. Okay, worked that time. We now have level 8 open. And this place is just like the one we were at. Alright, let's go get the white sword. Quite remember which one of these blocks is the... There we go. Aha! I thought this was one of them. Alright, we're doing good. I think there might be one more of these somewhere way off in the distance. But we are one heart ahead. All we have to do is smack this Lionel around, which we can do a lot easier now that I can reflected swords. Okay. Most of the things that I need have been acquired. I still need to get the arrows, but we're gonna go get the power bracelet next. Okay, so again, we are knocking out things left and right for the pickups here. Okay, clearly we don't want to bomb either of those spots, so let's rewind. be a, I want your money because you broke my door down. Oh, it's a shop. This is the cheap magical shield shop, which, you know, since I cheated, I don't mind spending the full amount on it. And we'll jump back across. And I think we'll go after the last heart that I can faintly remember where it is before we start tackling the dungeons. I'm just going to need to remember which part of this beach. And might as well get the warps open. I want to say it's possibly here. It's nice that I remembered those two without looking at the guide. Okay, so we've got a nice little backlog of hearts now. We have the white sword, the blue ring, the magical shield, and the candle. We are currently out of bombs, but Dungeon 1 doesn't need bombs, really. I think it's the middle bush. Or this rightmost bush. I also think that the Japanese one's a little bit more particular, that you actually have to get the flame on the bush to open it up. No, I'm not going to be that exact. There is a hidden shop here as well, but I'm out of bombs. And I don't remember if this is a bomb shop. I don't think it is. While we are here, let's go ahead and get the medicine shop open. I won't need that for a little while. But having the stepladder is going to speed up these first 3 dungeons before you are normally supposed to get it immensely. In fact, we'll probably fly through. Hitting select instead of start for the menu. So apologies for the occasional pauses. Okay, I've already got a key, so we can just move right on ahead. But yeah, like, Stalfos aren't really a problem anymore because the white sword takes them out in one hit. Yeah, Zelda 1 is the only Zelda that I can recollect off the top of my head that basically you can use keys anywhere. You can get the normal boomerang here, but there's really no reason to. Because we're going to go straight to level 2 and get the magical boomerang, which is just an infinitely better device. But we will need the bow for later. So that's good to pick up. We'll just need to go buy arrows. This is the one Zelda game that uses money for arrows. Link to the Past introduced a different system. Of a separate arrow meter. These hints are going to mean nothing to me. But my choice to not grab a key is coming back to bite me in the face. Hoping I could skate out of here without having to pick up the key in the earlier part of the dungeon, but I was wrong. See, under normal circumstances, you are still in the green tunic, which takes normal damage. With the wooden sword, which does the least damage, with a regular shield that doesn't deflect most things, and without the candle. And if I was wanting to abuse the money-making game more, I could have bought the arrows in advance too, but didn't really feel like it. Okay, we should be good on keys. So let's quickly zip our way back up. One of my favorite enemies in the Zelda series for a hot moment in second to last room. And we're gonna skip this room. This is where you get the normal boomerang. It really doesn't matter. Wall Masters. They are a lot easier to deal with the white sword, but if I get grabbed by one of them, I'm going back to the beginning. So yeah, different sounds for the bosses. I gotta hit the head. Two or three more hearts, and then we can get the magical sword. I still need to get some more money for the arrows. Yeah, things are just a lot easier to deal with. Mind me as I am temporarily lost. generally know where level 2 is. Here we are. So this dungeon introduces bombs formally. It's kind of a fun dungeon, actually, because you can get bombs and just, like, shortcut most of it if you want to burn them all. And save a bunch of keys. Ropes make their introduction here. They're pretty fun. Yeah, I believe starting from this room, you can just bomb straight up. And then you'll just basically skip all of the keys. If you do it that way. Alright, I found the top secret enemy. And I got full bombs, too, so that's great. I like the bomb noise. And normally you wouldn't be able to deflect the boomerangs. It's really quite amusing how much of the dungeon you can just straight up skip. You get a bunch of bombs. And then this is the Dodongo hates smoke hint. I don't remember if I could bomb to the left from here, though. Yes, I can. That magical boomerang on. Regrettably, all of the gorillas now have the magical boomerang. And now we gotta deal with Dodongos. Finicky enemies. I love the fact that the bosses all kind of just have different sounds now. It's great. Let's just save that last bomb, shall we? So yeah, flying through these dungeons. Almost got enough for arrows. Which the arrow shop is very close to here. So let's go ahead and get some more money. That'll get us arrows. I think the boomerang is just one of the coolest things on the NES. I don't know if any of the 3D games, or even Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, has quite captured how cool the boomerang felt in this game. Because you can just throw it diagonally. Sling it wherever it needs to go. It's just a good time. Alright, there is little else we need to buy from the shops at this point, but we do need to still get medicine eventually, because even though we are able to reduce the amount of damage we take, we're not going to get the red ring until the last dungeon, and we have to have the Triforce to get in there, so... That's the one I wanted. So yeah, the warps are kind of nice. They can zip you around pretty fast. Alright, back to level 3. And then we can go grab the magical sword once we defeat Manhandla. So the Dark Nuts won't be quite as aggravating. White sword. They are resistant to your boomerang, though. Bombs can work on them. But I would like to save those. Because then I can use a bomb to just get right to Manhandla and get out of this dungeon. There. Okay, we've gotten through 3 dungeons and done all of the setup that I plotted in an hour. So we're doing pretty good. I don't think this is a speed run by any stretch of the imagination. But it is a run. And I'm having a good time. Okay, so let's go get the magical sword first before we just go plunge into that dungeon, because then the game's gonna get super easy. Don't mind me, I'm thinking, panicking. I've told this story in written form on Levels Plus, but I don't think I've verbalized it in a video. So, I have had the most fascinating history with The Legend of Zelda in terms of trying to keep it in my collection. I owned it as a kid. I picked it up somewhere. I can't remember. I think it was a used copy. I don't think I had it new. Good guess. And I ended up lending it to somebody who never returned it to me. So I was just like without it for a long time. And then I bought it on the Game Boy Advance. So did not mean to throw a bomb. Forgot I had bombs out. And then I got it on the Wind Waker bonus disc, the collector's edition, which is what the guide I'm referring to is that guide. And is it 11 or 12? It's 12. Guess where we're going? To level 4. But I sold both of those when I got the Virtual Console and the Wii and bought it on that. But I just always wanted to have the Famicom Disk System original and the NES original, and I now have both. And that makes me very happy. I have the Classic Series box for the NES, but the actual gold cartridge original. Famicom Disk System, it is more or less complete. If it came in a box, I don't have that, but I don't know how many Famicom Disk System games actually came that way. So if I wanted to be less annoyed with vials, I could go find one of the last heart pieces out there, but I just don't think I want to do that. The only downside to this guide really is that it doesn't specify what's in the secret item places, so I'd have to go wander around and find all of those. So I think it's just going to be simpler to just quickly get to Goma. But I can get to a rupee room going this way, so we'll do that. Open it door. there's not really a great way of dealing with Goma beyond hitting his head with your sword. Even the magical shield cannot stop its attacks. Alright, now we're gonna go get the magical sword. First, I'm gonna get hit with an Octorok rock that I can't avoid. Then once we get the magical sword, I think we'll take a brief diversion. I'll probably pause it for a moment. And track down the rest of these secret items on the guide. So I can get what other hearts I need to grab. But you don't necessarily have to watch me wander about everywhere. But, you know, it would be simpler to edit. So I think we'll just run with it. So 4 dungeons down, we now have the magical sword, which does the most damage. And we need to look at the map. So got that one, L8, got that one, M3, got that one, P3, got that, P6, H8 is the sword. I think I got them all. So I think we can continue going. We don't have to wait for nothing. I guess we can go to 6 and get the magical wand. We have what we need to deal with Goma at this point, and that way I don't have to deal with blue dark nuts for a little bit longer. The Wizrobe Dungeon. The magical shield really does come in handy here against these guys. Back one more. Yeah, that would have been a rather tragic waste. Have to go out and buy a key. Wizrobe's hit like a truck in this game, I swear. Fearsome enemies, those ones. Like, that was 2 hearts. I just don't think I am in a good place to continue at this venture. I need to heal up and probably have some medicine so I don't just cheese it. Sometimes knowing when to leave is an important life skill. Because I have enough to buy the good medicine at this point, so let's go do that and go find a fairy fountain while we're at it. Brain is telling me that there might be a shop here. Perfect. Good job, Braid. You did great. That's what I wanted. That's the one I wanted. Alright, well, we're gonna go ahead and go do level 5. Since level 5 is right here, it's got a fun little gimmick. So, we're playing the Famicom Disk System version of this game. So, Pole's voices and Dig Dogger work differently in this version of the game. And I have to remember how they... because here, arrows don't kill them. And that was the change that they made. To this particular version of the game. For the American version, so that way they had a weakness. You can still kill them with your sword. But there's a microphone option on the Famicom Disk System version of the Nintendo Famicom Classics app that I'm going to need to remind myself how to activate. Okay, I was reminded. Thank you, GameFAQs. I just have to hit both the right shoulder buttons or the left shoulder buttons to activate the microphone. So we'll try that on the next Pole Voice room and see how that goes. Yeah, this mess will be 10 times easier without having to use the white sword to fight off Darknuts and Gibdos. And it's another good reason to have done what I've done to get to this point, because it's a pain dealing with Darknuts in this room to get the recorder. But now it's just 2 hits versus 4. game is being incredibly kind. Okay, I've got 3 keys, so we're doing all right. Still hit hard though, but they are giving me so many fairies, it's kind of ridiculous. I don't think I've ever had this many fairies show up fighting blue dark nuts before. Don't quite know where I am, but okay, I can get more bombs in this dungeon, but I don't have the money to do it. At present. But if you go in there, you could do that. But there is little else keeping me here at the moment. Although the money-making game is not far from here. I would have to fight all the dark nuts again. But having 12 bombs versus 8 wouldn't hurt. Regrettably, I can't go back to the right. But I'm still not that far. I want to say there's 1 or 2 other money-making games. P-hats. But I don't remember where they are. I just know where this one is very distinctly. Yeah, the power bracelet doesn't really do a ton in this game. It's really just opening up the warp. But it would become much more important in later games. I'm gonna go ahead and max out again. Because there is, I think, at least 1 other place to buy bombs, and it costs money to shoot arrows, so... Well, at least they're being nice and giving me the 50s this time. That ought to do it. Back to level 5. Usually how fights with blue darkness go. Well, bombs are very useful. I want to say you can get 16 somewhere, but I don't remember where. Might be 7. This pretty clean. I don't need to go to the right because that's just old man room. So up and right. Step ladder is really nice in rooms like this because you can just get off of a hittable grid and go into the liquid, so to speak, depending on the map. In a room with like dark nuts where normally they're kind of annoying to deal with, but if you can actually get yourself centered properly. And that was me holding the microphone buttons. Michael Cole's voices just magically disappeared. problem with the stepladder is when you get into situations like I just briefly was in, which is like this. That's not particularly helpful. And I'm pretty sure I have to actually use the recorder on Dig Dogger. Yeah. That hasn't changed. It's just the Pole's voices. And with the magical sword, Dig Dogger's kind of a pushover. So we got extra bombs, we got the recorder, which will let us warp around to the dungeons we've gone to. In the overworld, at least, and deal with Dig Dogger if we run into it again. That was interesting. I wonder if that's because I stopped time. I literally do not need to be here. That'll work. Back to level 6 and dealing with those wizards again. Oh, I might need to get meat. I need meat for one of these dungeons, so let's see if this was a medicine shop. What they sold. I think this one did have meat. It's more expensive here, but that's okay. We'll be prepared for when that happens. Gotten myself into a rather unique point of the map. There we go. Lionels. Not as scary as they are in Breath of the Wild, but still kind of intimidating. Blue ones in particular. I just went up one too high. Nope. Really do not need to use that. There we are. The fun of getting resituated around this map. Probably could have used that heart. Alright, time to try to get back. At least I've got extra keys from the other dungeons that I went to. And try to avoid the whiz robes as much as possible. blue wizrobes are intimidating enemies. My goodness, like, I'm just, like, taking a beating here. Imagine doing this without the blue ring. Terrifying. If I want to skip the Goma fight here, I can do so with a nicely placed bomb. And I need to head up. Come on, guys, leave me alone. The secret to fighting wizrobes is to try to not be on a center tile, because then they're a little less likely to just harass you. And the magical rod's nice. It at least gives you another tool to hit them with, and fighting them at a distance is much better than trying to fight the blue ones up close. At least it gives me something to deal with the light lights. Spike lights are another iconic enemy that I really just like the overall aesthetic of. I think that they're a devious enemy. Something that can steal your stuff. It's really messed up. Alright, where am I? I am in that room. Okay, so this is actually... I could actually not come in here. I could save myself some grief and some of my life and just leave this room. So I need to get to a teleporter room. save that bomb, I guess. Thankfully, Goma's not that hard if I can get there. Not looking good. Need to not get smacked by something the moment I walk in the room. I probably would like Zelda 2 a tiny bit more if it just didn't get rid of nearly everything that I liked about this game. Okay, I just have to hit Goma in the eye. If I can remember the correct button to attack Goma in the eye. Alright. That is probably the worst dungeon in the game that's not Ganon's. Absolutely awful. Okay, well, I think I want to call a break and get some dinner. Well, we are making some great progress, so let's go ahead and get this saved. And we'll pick this up in another recording. All right, we are back. I need to go get to a pond. woods on this one. And I think 7 doesn't have the next boss expansion. Get my guide open again. How about I open it up and go inside for a hot second and see if I can at least warp here. That would be pretty neat. I also think I gotta do the meat in this room anyway, so. Anyway, we need some money to buy that expansion, and we probably won't get it just wandering around the dungeon, so... That's right, I can't do it here, it's just gonna open that back up. That's close enough. That's a little closer. Alright, more shenanigans with the money-making game. I think I can get 6 rupees by the time we get to the bomb room. Alright, level 7 for real this time. Let's go get those bombs first. And then we'll go track down the red candle. The burritos are back. They're not too complicated. Compared to some of the enemies we've just been dealing with. Alright, I don't actually have to fight these to go, I don't think. But I do need 4 more rupees, so I guess I might as well. worth it. Alright, the red candle. We need to teleport to, it seems. How Dig Dog are far more complicated. Okay, here's our Grumble guy. We have the red candle, which no longer has the limitation of 1 use per room. And that's great. We love that for us. And then we can just bypass a lot. You're on the right track. It's been a long time since we've seen them, but Wall Masters are in here. I think I have to beat them before I can push this block. Yeah. Let's go ahead and bust out that one. Kinda feel bad for that boss. I think the Dig Doggers are harder. Alright, that's level 7. Level 8 is next. We unlocked it earlier. It is the first dungeon to have 2 items. Well, that's actually not true. Level 1 has 2 items, doesn't it? Let's just put it this way, that you don't immediately have to ignore one of them, because you get something better in the literal next dungeon. Now, while we're here, I do not remember who inhabits level 8. But I think we'll just have to hope for the best, because I don't have enough money. And I don't feel like going all the way back to the money-making game again. Welcome to level 8. Just remind myself what horrors we're dealing with in here. Angela. have a gazillion bombs for those. Oh, we got those dark nuts again. I almost feel like its purpose is rooms with bubbles. And the wand's about to get better because it's about to replace our candle. As you saw, the Book of Magic adds fire to it. So there really isn't any need for the candle anymore. That one's not really mandatory. Now it looks like we can go straight up to get to the magical key. See how far we get. Yeah, unfortunately, dark nuts cannot be hurt by fire. Or the magical rod, for that matter. Okay, continuing up. I think we're gonna go the bomb route. And just try to get through here without getting stabbed. Unfortunately, I think this is as high as I get. Well, maybe not. This really is just level 5 all over again with the enemies. Gotta deal with Goma. And this Goma's gonna take a couple more hits, then one. Yeah, let's come back into this room. I cannot block Blue Goma's shots. That would have been helpful to know before I got to the bonus. Chance to get out of this dungeon alive. So the magical key lets me open any locked door. No more need to deal with dropped keys. I'm just trying to escape this dungeon. So I can refill my health. Well, this is fun. Let me look at the map, because I can't remember. Okay. Let me try to get my bearings. I think I went too far. Yeah, I should have gone up. On this screen. Almost to the point of getting medicine, so we'll take a brief detour. fun thing about the wand at this point is that you now have to be a little bit more careful with it. Candles are still useful in the overworld, because the wand really doesn't have the control. The burnt bushes. Alright, back to level 8. And I think... trying to be in the middle, because it makes it easier to just kind of weave around them. Not always mine. The problem is I'm not the most patient when it comes to dealing with them. And their movements are really random. And they never seem to go the direction you want them to go. Bubbles really do not help this process. Sorry. I don't know if there's any purpose in me coming this way. No. There's not. I have no idea how I walked right into that dragon. Alright, with that we have completed the Triforce. Of power. Which will let us into Death Mountain. in the excitement to get recording going, I forgot to move the microphone. So for Dungeon 7 and 8, you probably barely heard me. Apologies. Let's get ourselves over to level 6, because that's going to be the fastest way to get to Death Mountain from here. And then I think the first objective will be the red ring. Trying to remember my way here. There we go. Although I don't quite remember if it's over here. We will find it, though. I don't think that any of these rocks get pushed. So let's head left from here. Or right, I should say. Right from here, not left. And now left, I think, will get us there. Here we are. I just can't remember which rock it was, so let's save the bomb. Death Mountain. One of my favorite tracks in the Zelda series. It's so menacing. With good reason. So under normal circumstances, if I didn't have the Triforce, I wouldn't be allowed to pass this room. Okay, so it looks like I can scoot to the right and go straight up to get the red ring. At some point. And this is kind of a place where you don't want to fight if you don't have to. Okay, I gotta go up one more room. Yeah, the fun of trying to remember how all this works. So let's not waste these 2 bombs that I wasted. And it just immediately cut left. Okay, I need to get to A. I'm deciphering the map. So I can bomb down from here. Oh, I actually pulled it off. How nice. I'll have to deal with Moldor, his first appearance. Okay. And then I need to head right. Okay, didn't lose anything. That was terrifying. I forgot that I had bombs. Okay, so from this room, I can keep heading right. Will not deal with Petra yet. And then down. One more. Oh, I can bomb here. Okay, we have breached into the right, which is what I've been trying to do this whole time. Oops. Not trying to push the button. Okay, we are here in the room that I needed to get to. This place is a mess. But we will now take less damage, finally. Which is going to help a ton dealing with these witch robes everywhere. And Petra hits like a truck, too. Okay, let's not actually lose my shield. But yeah, you can already see the difference, like how little health that actually took from me in comparison. I don't think there's a great way of dealing with Petra outside of just hitting it with your sword. I don't even think you can attack its standard form until the babies are gone. Alright, so Death Mountain is a skull shape. That's another cool thing about this place. Okay, let's see if I'm here. I'm figuring out my way back. So we need to go here and then up. I can get around Petra. And come up here. It'll tell us something that I can't read. We'll come in here. We have one more thing to grab before we can call this a done dungeon. And complete the game, which is go grabbing the silver arrow. Which I'm trying to plot the best course to. So if I head left... Okay, well, we'll take a room with these guys, because they're pretty nice. I do need to have some rupees. Okay, so I need to be in this room. This is great. This is exactly where I need to be. This warp will take us right below where the silver arrow is. Vamos! Okay. We can now beat Ganon. And we are conveniently, I think, nowhere near where we need to be to get out of here conveniently. Because this place is a maze. So, to get to where we need to go up, left, and then up a bit. That was weird. I'm not sure how the one on the left died, but I'll take it. Okay, so from here, I get to bomb again to the left. And take a ridiculous amount of damage that I really shouldn't be taking. Okay. 2 hearts and a dream. This is going to be a little bit challenging because of my low health. But if I can hit him just a couple times and not get hit. Yeesh. There we go. Apparently I just had to plant myself somewhere where he was going to show up multiple times. And then to almost kill myself on the fire blocking Zelda. Alright, well that is The Legend of Zelda as it was originally released on February 22nd, 1986. Wonderful game. It's still super fun. I really enjoy it. I still was having some issues with the Switch 2 pad. I got kind of used to it, but there was still a couple times where I just scooted a little too far. But I love this game. It's a very special one, and brought forth one of the greatest franchises in all of games. So, happy 40th anniversary, Legend of Zelda. Looking forward to seeing what might be happening this year. But at the very least, your very first game is super memorable and enjoyable, and I love it. And kudos to the dev staff way back when, making a truly remarkable game for its time. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the near future. Take care.